Today I'm starting a new series about the names of the United States. Every state has a story. Some names come from Spanish, others come from Native American words, and some are really funny. In the first episode, we go to the Southeast: Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. Listen to the new episode to find out why Florida means Feast of Flowers and why Georgia's famous for peaches. Also, get the transcript at speakenglishpodcast.com. I'll see you there. Bye-bye. Are you ready for a trip through the United States? Pack your bags because today we're starting a special journey. Hi, I'm Georgiana, and I'm back with a new episode of the Speak English Now podcast. The podcast that helps you speak English fluently with no grammar and no textbooks. If you want to help me, share the podcast with your friends and family. That would mean a lot. Thanks. On my website, you can find the 5 secrets to speaking English and my premium courses. Before we start, get the transcript. Visit speakenglishpodcast.com/podcast. Okay, let's start. This is the first episode of a 4-part series all about state names. Yes, every state in the US has a story, and many of them are funny, surprising, or full of history. In the first episode, we'll travel to the Southeast: Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. Next time, we'll continue our trip to the Northeast, then to the Midwest, and finally we'll finish in the West and Southwest. So stay with me, and let's discover why some states are named after kings, others after flowers, and even some after Native American villages. Let's go on a little trip together. Don't worry, no passport, no suitcase. We're going to the Southeast of the United States. The Southeast is famous for many things: warm breezes, sandy beaches, country music, and fried chicken. Yes, food always makes a trip better, right? But today we're not eating. We're learning about the names of the states. And believe me, these names have some funny stories behind them. Let's start with Florida. When you hear Florida, what do you imagine? Palm trees? Disney World? Retired people playing golf? Yeah, me too. But here's the real story. Many years ago, Spanish explorers arrived in this land. It was springtime, Easter. In Spanish, Easter is called Pascua Florida, which means Feast of Flowers. So they looked around and thought, flowers everywhere. Okay, let's call it Florida. Simple, right? And honestly, Florida does feel like a giant garden, except for more alligators and mosquitoes. Feast of Flowers, more like Feast on Me. Next stop is Georgia. And no, not the country near Russia. We're still in the US. This Georgia was named after King George II of England. Can you imagine? A whole state named after you. I mean, I'd be happy if someone named a cupcake after me. But a state? That's next level. Although Georgia and Georgiana are quite similar. And Georgia is also famous for peaches. Sweet, juicy peaches. That's why they call it the Peach State. So King George gets the credit. But really, the peaches are the stars. Now let's head to Tennessee. The name comes from Tennessee, a Cherokee village. The Cherokee were Native Americans who lived in that area long before Europeans arrived. When people say Tennessee, they think of music. Nashville, country songs, guitars, Elvis. Okay, Elvis was from Mississippi, but close enough. Either way, music is everywhere in Tennessee. Have you ever listened to country music? And finally, Alabama. The name comes from the Creek language. It may mean people who gather plants or people who clear the land. Pretty cool, right? It shows how the first people used and shaped the land. Today, Alabama is green, full of forests and rivers. If Florida is beaches and Tennessee is music, then Alabama is all about nature. So, what did we learn today? Florida was named by Spanish explorers during Easter. Georgia was named after King George II, but peaches steal the show. Tennessee comes from a Cherokee village, not all about music. And Alabama comes from the Creek language, which is connected to nature. See? State names aren't just names, they're little history lessons. Which one's your favorite? Flowers, peaches, music, or forests? Let's continue with a point of view story. I will tell you the same story, but in different points of view. This will help you practice grammar in a natural way. You can find more about this method in my premium courses. Visit speakenglishpodcast.com/courses to get my premium courses. They are designed for learning by listening. Let's listen to the story in the past tense. Last summer, Emma decided to take a road trip through the southeast of the United States. Her first stop was Florida. She imagined flowers, beaches, and palm trees. But instead of relaxing, she spent most of the time running from mosquitoes. Feast of flowers, Emma said. More like feast on me. Florida means flowery land in Spanish. But for her was more like mosquito land. Then she drove to Georgia. She couldn't wait to try the peaches. She bought a giant peach pie, but forgot it in the car. The hot sun turned it into peach soup. Not exactly the sweet memory she wanted. Next, Emma went to Tennessee. She expected country music on every street corner. But when she walked into a store, the speakers blasted heavy metal. Emma covered her ears and shouted, "Is this really Tennessee?" Finally, she arrived in Alabama. She wanted to enjoy nature, the forest, and the rivers. But she got lost in the woods. After 2 hours, she finally found her car and collapsed in laughter. When she got home, her friends asked, "So, Emma, how was your trip to the southeast?" Emma smiled and said, "Well, Florida ate me, Georgia cooked me, Tennessee confused me, and Alabama lost me. But hey, at least now I'll never forget the state names. Let's listen to the story in the future tense. Next summer, I will take a road trip through the southeast of the United States. My first stop will be Florida. I'll imagine flowers, beaches, and palm trees. But instead of relaxing, I'll spend most of the time running from mosquitoes. Feast of flowers, I'll say, more like a feast on me. Florida means flowery land in Spanish, but for me, it will feel more like mosquito land. Then I will drive to Georgia. I'll be excited to try the peaches. I'll buy a giant peach pie, but I'll forget it in the car. The hot sun will turn it into peach soup, not exactly the sweet memory I want. Next, I will go to Tennessee. I'll expect country music on every street corner. But when I walk into a store, the speakers will blast heavy metal. I'll cover my ears and shout, "Is this really Tennessee?" Finally, I will arrive in Alabama. I'll want to enjoy nature, the forest, and the rivers. But I'll get lost in the woods. After 2 hours, I'll finally find my car and collapse in laughter. When I return home, my friends will ask, "So, how was your trip to the Southeast?" I'll smile and say, "Well, Florida will eat me. Georgia will cook me. Tennessee will confuse me. And Alabama will lose me. But hey, at least I will never forget the state names." Great! I love using stories like these. They're easy to remember and really helpful for learning English. A bit of humor also makes the process more fun and enjoyable. You can find more about this method in my premium courses. Visit speakenglishpodcast.com/courses to get my premium courses. They are designed for learning by listening. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy today's episode? Get the transcript now at speakenglishpodcast.com.